Sure.
Okay. It is July 20th at 6:15 p.m. and we are going to call the Perry Carnegie Library Board to order. And if we could have roll call, please.
And Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Calderon.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
O'Shea. Wortham.
Here.
And if Lawrence, would you do our invocation today?
Absolutely. Our Father in heaven, we are grateful for this opportunity that we have to come together as a city council and as the library board, that we can meet together and discuss some of the needs and things happening in our city. Father, we ask Thee for a blessing that we can be wise in our decisions, and bless us with the gift of discernment that we can decipher and work through the things that we're going to be talking about today. Father, we're grateful for Your Son, Jesus Christ, for the example that He is to us, and bless that we strive to emulate Him. And Father, we're grateful for the opportunities that we have to serve and the capacity in which we do so. And Father, these things we pray for in the name of Your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Item 1 is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve consent agenda?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Davis.
Yes.
Oh, don't even ask where that came from. Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
It's random.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Calderon.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes.
Looked up, saw your name.
Sign you
I
gotta be
don't
ready.
have any comments
Maybe.
from those assembled, and item number 5 is presentation of the oral quarterly report on library usage and statistics on Perry Carnegie Library by Pam Rigg. Thank you, Pam.
So I was at home on a Friday night and I wanted to look up a refrigerator for my aunt, and I went to the library databases. It did not work. The state pays for them. So I worked with the Oklahoma Department of Libraries next week, or the next week. When you click on it, it verifies that the state of Oklahoma has paid for access to these databases from anywhere in Oklahoma. It's a sweet setup. There's magazines, journals, consumer reports, so it's a very rich resource. So the Carnegie Library Progress Club funded a bathroom and meeting room kitchenette remodel. That's the Zeffie code. They set up Zeffie, and we received some donations that way. It's very nice. So these were funds donated from the community. One member of the community recently gave us an $18,000 donation. So a lot of this came from that donation. And there's the Zeffie barcode. Progress Club donated more than $3,000 to the library in fiscal 25-26. So the meeting room kitchenette, the counters were falling apart. There was no backsplash. The walls were painted green. So needless to say, the black splash was green paint with brightly colored paint from the kids' craft. We reused the stainless steel sink and faucet. So there was no backsplash. The counter was falling apart. This looks lovely. This is very functional. So the project was done in 3 phases to keep our restrooms open. It required a plumber, handyman, electrician, in addition to that tile and countertop contractor. They primed, painted, removed stalls, and returned the stalls. There were many areas to grout because 3 mirrors were removed from each public restroom. There is still 1 large mirror in each restroom. So this is the staff bathroom. You can see the before and after. This is the public glass bathroom. Note how the countertops are bleached out, and that one's just missing across the front. So we had behind the urinals, there was lots of grout. That was not ideal. Yes, Danette, that was not ideal. So the new tile and the bathrooms are huge tile. It was also replaced in the little kitchenette. And the tile in the cedar entryway was literally held down by a huge rug, which we replaced with a nice smaller. So these are 1 by 2 foot tiles. And here's the minimal grout lines now behind toilets. The stalls and toilets were kept to save money, along with the faucets. And here's the water fountain downstairs and in the restroom. So we received our state aid. These, you remember when you were a kid and they had the talking books with either the cassette or the little record? Well, now they have it built in. And you just push the button. I'm sure you've had these at your house.
Yeah, I could do.
So we ordered more of those and that made Savannah very happy. So these are shelving that we purchased with our state aid. It's rolling shelving. My husband literally came to the library and gave a lesson on how to use a drill. And I was very proud that the staff put these together themselves. Before, we've had shelving so complicated that the streets have had to do it, but this the staff was able to do. And we have a new collection of bilingual Spanish English books for kids. Those are checking out. And at our next library board meeting, when it seems like summer reading program has been over for a long time, that's when we'll talk about summer reading program, because we're still going. So do y'all have any questions?
How's summer reading going so far?
Oh, it's going great. We've had lots of attendance, great programs. I haven't heard anything negative. So, beginning of August, we're going to have luau parties for the kids that return the reading logs. So those are by invitation. And, oh, I think my favorite one this year was the black light. What's it called? Glow parties. Those were fun. We had like glow necklace, glow face paint. It was a good time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any new business? No new business, we will adjourn. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to our regular meeting for the City Council, City of Perry, and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Kolar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams. Bochet. Wood.
Here. We've got quorum. All right, item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion approved.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Marshall. Don't ask. My brain is faster than my fingers. Marshall and Davis.
Yes.
Kolar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, we'll go down to item number 5, proclamations, accommodations, reports, and inquiries by the governing body. We'll start off with our council reports. Ward 1, Scott?
Don't have anything.
Don't have anything? Nothing about the train?
No, not that I can say on camera.
All right, Ward 2, Austin?
I don't have anything.
Joe? No? Randy?
I don't have anything either.
Jeanette? Sammy?
I do.
All right.
I've just had a couple of complaints about the rain that happened July 4th. So Quail Creek is pretty much washed out when you get to the country club to turn. And any of you drive through, you'll see what I'm talking about, but it's pretty bad. And the other complaint was the trash truck is making it worse. So it's already pretty bad, but it's getting worse because of the trash truck. So
It's the road, Quail Creek, where you turn into it?
no, it is, what is that? Is it Country Club? Ninth, okay, yeah, so it's right next to 9th Street in Quail Creek. Washed out right there.
Thank you. We'll
That's
check it out.
Low water or whatever.
Well, it's
Those kind of-
technically, from what I've been told, it's
It is
county, but then it's also
Oh.
city, but the city uses, I mean, it's
Okay,
utilized by
gotcha.
everybody.
Oh, yeah,
So,
it's not so, yeah, worse.
yeah. I don't know, it's an interesting
Yeah.
guideline.
It's that little section that's
Yeah.
outside the city
Yeah.
limits.
We'll see what we can do. We can certainly, if it is county, we can talk to the county and see, like we have agreements with them. They've helped us with a bunch of stuff, so maybe we can work something out where we help them with this or, But first step is us recognizing the issue, and I hadn't heard anything about it, so thank you.
Eric?
Similar tower, I think. If you could add tower, there's probably more to the conversation than just fixing the road, but Tower Road had similar from the rain
Washout.
washout. I think there's some others, but I can't remember off the top of my head, so. I'll shoot
And you
those
can
over
see
to
where
you.
the rock washed out. It's all like,
Yeah.
pretty far from the road. Just big chunks of rock.
I'll bring you guys something back next council meeting, or I'll follow up before with you individually. So.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I don't believe we have any committee reports, or quarterly reports. So we'll move along to item number 6, our CFO monthly report.
Monthly, and I'm going to hit a little bit of year-end stuff since these are June financials, and I thought we'd at least maybe get a little bit of a highlight from the past year. You guys have had most of it month in and month out, but I just want to give maybe a couple of reminders of some of the things that got accomplished this year, because it's not just all about, you know, oh, well, here, we didn't do this, we didn't do that. I want to talk about what we did do, because there were a lot of things that happened this year, and Nate said that we were going to have a short meeting, so I thought I had at least an hour that I could
An hour?
talk tonight.
We'll give you double, so you have 10 minutes.
He was wrong.
I will talk until I get kicked, all right? And then whenever Scott kicks me, we'll move on. Couple of big pieces, just as we talked about it. Last month we talked about CPI. CPI was at 4.2% last month. This month down to 3.5. We are in the rural area of that CPI piece. Normally, the metropolitan areas are higher than we are, but metropolitan for South Central region was actually lower at 3.2%. We were at 3.5%. So kind of an interesting twist there. We'll see what catches up and how it adjusts over the next couple months, but at least it's falling.
We approved the budget
We're
at
headed-
3.1.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've just had escalator after that March number that we go with. So anyhow, hopefully we're falling back down and that's going to be in place. Our power cost adjustment, the PCA that we talked about on our electric bill, negative this month, almost 0.4 cents to the negative. So pretty much if you average last month and this month, we're right at zero for a 2-month number. So that was good. Kind of an exciting piece on that. As far as sales tax goes, our July sales tax collection, so not our monthly that we're talking about, but this month's that deposited, sales tax was up 10% over prior year, and use tax is up 17% over prior year. So a weighted average about 11% up for the year. A whole lot better than starting out down, like I've had a couple of communities that I've had to talk to this month already. So that is good. We like to see sliding out on the upside. As far as overall expenses and those kind of things, you guys will see the budget. I'm not going to read through every line item as it goes. You know, our general fund, unrestricted cashes, we're going to end with about just over 2.05 million. Our PWA unrestricted cash is just under $1 million of unrestricted cash there. So, you know, we have a lot of commitments and a lot of things that we've committed to doing. You know, anytime we have a grant match, anytime we have those kind of things, those are those committed funds. As you guys commit them, I pull the cash out so that you don't have to worry about whenever we get to doing it, will that money be there? Now, we do end up with a couple of one-off circumstances, and I'm going to actually talk about it as we talk about the general fund. You know, just because I set the cash aside doesn't mean that whenever we actually end up paying for something in the budget, that it's not going to flow through the budget part of that. One of those instances or a couple of those instances are why, if you look at the financials for the general fund, it looks like we lost $1.4 million. Well, we didn't lose $1.4 million. Yes, we expended $1.4 million more than we brought in, but a lot of that was carryover pieces. You know, we had the ambulance at $250,000. It was a carryover. We had to do a transfer of about $120,000 to the airport to finish funding the grant until we get the reimbursement back. You know, the other piece out of that is the capital outlay on the street side. You know, we will get part of that street reimbursement back, not the equipment side, but we will get back the about $400,000 from the overlay cost, you know, that we get to pay out of the sales tax. So you may look at that and it's a negative $1.4 million, but I'm just telling you, there's enough of those one-off pieces that either we already knew about them or they're reimbursements that are going to come back in. At the end of the day, whenever I look at the general fund, we actually had a net increase for the year of about $150,000. That increase really, a couple of conservative pieces on the expense side, but really the bigger part came from sales tax and use tax collections being up over what we had budgeted. And that really resulted in a good piece there. On the PMA side, you'll look at what we're setting at with about $700,000 profit for the year. As far as numbers go, you got to remember in that there's the big transfer out to the general fund. You know, $3.3 million is going out of the utilities into the general fund. So really look up at the operating margin and then take out the administrative expenses. We're about 3.1 million as far as overall pieces go for operations on our utilities, our electric, water, and our sewer. It's just we have to use that subsidy out of the PMA to subsidize our general fund to pay for what it is. I did promise you that I was going to talk just for a second before Scott kicks me here. I can tell my time's starting to run short. Let me just run down kind of a couple of things. You guys can see them listed as capital outlay. Let me hit a couple of these bigger pieces. We've expended all the water projects. We've expended $1.1 million this past year. On the hangars, we had just over $1 million committed out on the hangar that we did. Streets had $700,000 worth of work. Police, between their vehicles and the remodel and some video equipment, $150,000. Equipment in the parks, another $50,000. The fire, I mentioned the ambulance, fire and ambulance, the $225,000 on the ambulance, another $20,000 on gear, and $19,000 on equipment that came out. Cemetery, another $19,500. Demolition work, $19,000, and then the roofing work that we have done already was almost $50,000 worth of that piece that's come out in these financials. So guys, you start talking about it, there's a lot of things that got accomplished this last year, and there's a lot of good that happened. We're moving forward on a lot of projects. As a matter of fact, we seem to be running more and more projects. I had it with me, and I left it, but I was going to show you the project list. It's actually 2 pages of just projects that we're tracking and that we're spending money on. And so, it's a good piece to have, and it's a good thing. It's a good position to be in, that we actually have the money to go do the things that we hadn't been able to do over the past decade. And that really started about 3 or 4 years ago, where we really started ramping this up and being able to do things. But if it weren't for some of the grants that we received, if it weren't for some utility adjustments that you guys took and did, you guys had to take some heat and do those things. But without that stuff, we wouldn't be in the position that we are. So I just thought I'd give you guys kind of a highlight and a recap. I don't want you to look at the number and go, oh my gosh, that's -$1 million. It's all right. I know exactly why it's there. And if you factor out all those other things that weren't really this fiscal year pieces, we'd end up in a positive position. So that's what I have. You guys have about $150,000. That's good, yes. Any questions? Scott didn't kick me, so I guess I didn't go to him.
You're good. You're good.
All right. Anybody have any other questions for Russ? No? Thank you. Scott, you can go ahead and kick them.
Okay.
All right. We'll go on to item number 7, our city manager remarks.
I have a couple of things, Council, that I wanted to update you on. The first is, found out this last week that Amazon is actually going to be opening early. September 3rd is the date that they will be open and operating, which is exciting.
What was the original date?
It was beginning of November, I think.
Yeah, they've been for a couple of months.
Nice.
So pretty exciting. If you haven't been out there, it's worth going. I went toward the other day and it looks really, really nice.
The parking lot's poured.
Yep,
Looks
and
good.
the streets, we brought up the streets a few times because that's something that they've actively been wanting to do. They had some issues with the county road that John Wayne, trying to figure out how to make it drain properly, which is why it's taken so long, but those are still on their list to do. And they're just waiting for the county to do a drainage piece, which I know Commissioner Hughes is aware of and working on, before they pave those. So.
Nate, are they going to do any kind of grand opening or?
I need to talk to their operations manager. So far, I've been working really with the construction team, which is, if you remember, the BH DevCo team who kind of was their shield before Amazon was rebuilt, right? But I do have the construction or the operation manager's email. I need to reach out to him and just see what their plan is. So I'll keep you posted. Wanted to follow up from our last conversation about the fire department roof. Went and had lunch with Tracy. Really appreciated his expertise in that, and we talked about some of the quotes. He gave me a recommendation for Empire Roofing out of the city. They came out, took a look, and are working on a bid. He says they use them all the time out at Ditch Witch and do a really good job for them. So he said they're a trustworthy group to work with. So I'll keep you posted there, but that's kind of what came out of that discussion. Sidewalk project. The FUR project is officially going to kick off July 27th. So that one's coming up too. You may see all the flags out by BMAC. That's where they'll begin. The work is clear to the east, or to the west, and then they'll head east. And so plan on seeing them work over the next couple of months. And then recently, really,
And Nate, that will connect where the existing sidewalk stops.
that's correct. Yeah, down. I think it's a little past Brahms there. And then just recently, staff has been expending a lot of time on grants. So sidewalk grants, with this project quickly approaching, we've been meeting on that and trying to figure out how best to proceed, and staging areas and things like that. We've also been working on the finalization of design and some outstanding questions that the other firm has who's planning the Locust and the 7th Street sidewalks. We just got an ambulance grant submitted today in order to get ambulance, which would be awesome because it's something that we're looking at budgeting for and is obviously very expensive. So got that submitted. Melanie's been working on the storm siren grant with the county. The plan to apply through them because they have an emergency management plan that is approved by FEMA, which is required in order to get a FEMA grant. So we're working with them on that. And then the railroad grant is the last one, which I sent an email to you, council, but we received that grant for $3.5 million to cover the design, the engineering, the feasibility, and also the environmental on the possibility of an overpass on FUR. So just want to kind of give an update of what that looks like right now. We have been awarded the grant, we've been awarded the money. There's quite a long timeline for spending that. Being federal government, it doesn't happen very quickly. So I'm going to a webinar where they'll talk about next steps in the next few weeks. But if you're a business owner or live in that area next to the railroad crossing on FUR, just aware that it's something we're actively looking at. Still many years before we have anything finalized. I'm guessing probably 2 years at a minimum for the planning and feasibility and environmental to be all finished. And that is just to tell, hey, can we actually move dirt? Or can we actually conduct this? So if you're in that area, I understand there's a lot of questions, and unfortunately we just don't have a lot of answers for you right now. But just be aware that, and I talked to some business owners, that this is moving forward slowly, and you'll just have to watch, and we'll keep you updated as we learn more too. So that's all I have, council, unless you have other questions or concerns.
Where are we at on our 15 blocks?
Yeah, paving the 15 blocks. They're still on 9th Street with the concrete. The storm has really slowed them down. They're still picking up limbs from that storm and the list that they got from all the residents who needed help picking up limbs. And then at that point, it's just kind of is it going to be too hot to be out paving? You know, because it's pretty hot.
I mean, it is hot
Next
now.
week is supposed to get bad.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be cooling down, you know, with weather patterns that we've seen in the past. So then they'll keep going down 9th. So
9th or 8th?
8th.
I'm sorry, 8th. Yeah, good.
maybe I missed something.
No, you're right.
How far along 8th are they gonna go?
To Ivanhoe.
Time.
And once they're to Ivanhoe, how many blocks is that finished?
I have to look at our spreadsheet. We've done 6 so far, not including the concrete they've done on that half block.
Market, Land Alley.
It'd be 5, wouldn't it? Yeah, that should be. I'll have to look, Sam. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I do have a spreadsheet that breaks it all down. But that'll be getting close to the 15.
Okay.
We'll just keep going. We'll just keep going because that 15 was for last year, and we've bled into this year with just the timing of when we bought all the equipment. So.
With the talk of the railroad grant, I know I brought this up to Nate the other day about what will we have to give up to get this overpass? Because it seems like every time we get something, the railroad wants something in return. And rumor is that they could want 2 more crossings to close. And if that's the case, what's the 2? There's only 2 crossings left that could be feasible to close. And that would be Ivanhoe and I'm not sure what you'd call that.
Locust.
First Street or
Locust.
Boundary. Locust.
Boundary, Locust, whatever, just up there by the
Yeah,
transfer.
Locust, Boundary, 2nd Street, and then that would, there would be one way at this point. With the preliminary drawings would be only one way in and one way out of the fairgrounds, Central Park, all of those houses right there in that neighborhood, not to mention the city electric department. So that is a concern and something to think about.
Alright. You got a note of that?
Yeah, we already discussed some mentions.
Alright. Any other questions for Nate? Alright, thank you, Nate. We'll go on to item number 8, consideration, discussion, and possible action to approve an agreement to provide consulting services between the City of Perry and Retail Strategies LLC for retail recruitment, market analysis, and economic development, consulting services, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement contingent upon receipt of Malzahn grant. So this is part of that you went to the conference for, right?
Yep, so Melanie and I met Tyler. We had already met him, but remotely met him there in person. One thing we realized at ICS is that relationships are everything in these deals. And so we talked to Retail Strategies, got to know them a little bit, and they said, hey, we have a lot of these relationships already in place. If we hire them, they spent all their time doing this versus us just piecemealing it with all the other stuff we have going on. So after talking with Rick Johnson, he's going to present this to the Malzahn Group, and we've already submitted a grant to fund this, and if they approve that, then we'll move forward. If they don't, then we won't. So this would be through them. I will say, I was really impressed with Retail Strategies. I don't think I'm really impressed with groups like this typically, but they just seem very genuine and sincere, and talked about actual deals they've closed and how they approach things. I feel really optimistic about the work they could do for us.
So I think how they approach things is one of my questions. They have several towns, cities in Oklahoma, they're a nationwide company, but they have several in Oklahoma. And how do they approach things when they have a deal with somebody, but they have 2 towns, and how they choose which town to go with, if both viable, obviously, right?
Yeah, ultimately, it's, what they do is they would present both to the person who's wanting to move to us, right? and the person would then choose the better location for their needs. But in terms of how they approach things, they come to the community, they spend time with us, they look at the available sites that we have or could potentially have, or that other people have that they would want to sell, and just kind of get to know the community in that way and take a targeted approach in that way. So.
If we do this, it would be funded fully by Malzahn. We don't have any.
That's correct.
I did spend some time reviewing it and made sizable amendments to it, which protect the city's interest. Appropriation clause instead of a 3-year agreement, a 1-year agreement. There's a whole bunch that I put in there. I feel comfortable with it, particularly in that it's being paid by somebody else. So if you wanted to approve it, I'd approve a contingent. Apparently the grant hasn't come through yet. So, contingent upon approval by the Malzahn.
That's the way it reads.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
I move we accept the agreement contingent on the Malzahn Trust grant.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item 9, consideration, discussion, and possible action to adopt a resolution authorizing the mayor or city manager to execute a legal services agreement with David Grossman and Associates, PLLC, for the investigation and prosecution on a contingency fee basis of potential claims arising from PFAS, AFFF, microplastics, 1,4-dioxane, and other water contamination, and authorizing filing of related claims or litigation.
Yeah, so this one's really interesting. PFAS have been talked about all over the country. There's large settlements that have just massive amounts of money in them waiting to be divvied up. We have looked in the past at the recommendation of other firms and also our engineer. In fact, we ran a report last year to see if we had sufficient PFAS in our water to get some of this money to help rectify that. And the conclusion was that we did not. I recently was talking to this David Grossman, and he talked about how since we ran that report, they've actually lowered the bar for approval because not enough cities were qualifying. And so with that lowered bar, they've looked at that report and said that we would qualify for funding. And so this legal services agreement would authorize them to move forward. It's not any money out of our pocket up front, but if we do get money back, they take a percentage of that money back. I'm trying to think what else you want to know. Yeah, I think it's a good thing for us because there's no risk in terms of signing this, and there's massive potential for a really big payout, which would be wonderful, especially with all the water projects we've been doing, because reimbursement is part of this payment.
This is the one that we had also related to the same thing when we had that company come in that was going to map where the lines were that were needed to be replaced.
It's the same. What is the percentage of their services if we win some settlement?
Price was at 35 to 36%?
30%.
30%,
Yeah.
which is pretty standard for cases like this.
What is the you say a lot of money? What is the possibility of that?
Well, when they were trying to sell me on it, so look at it through the lens of that conversation, they said the smallest payout they've seen is $6 million.
And is the city expected to use that money to find a way to remove those from the water?
No, there's no, it's in, well, there's a couple things. One, it's for reimbursement for stuff you've already spent to bring your water up to speed, right? So all these line replacements and things we're doing qualifies for that replacement or that reimbursement. And then the only other detail I have on it is, in speaking with David, he said the money is unrestricted.
So is it based on what we've spent, or is this just like a class action?
Both, yeah, both. So they look, it is class action, they look at the punitive side, but they also look at, hey, what have you spent? Because that factors in the punishment, right?
Have we figured out what we spent yet?
I gave them kind of an overview of some of the projects we've done. If you guys agree this or accept this agreement tonight, they'll begin moving forward with specific details. They'll come out and do an additional report and sampling our water. So they'll chase that more, I guess I could say. And again, Bryce did look at this one and made some pretty big updates to the contract. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's just got upside. You know, Blackwell did this for their sludge. And they put $18 million into a special trust and invested very wisely in stocks, equities, all that. They've turned it into $58 million, pulling out $2, $3, $4 million a year to spend. So, I mean, if you do get it, it probably doesn't constitute public money. It would come back to the authority. We definitely want to check to the authority. There's no doubt about that. Okay. And then, you know, you ought to consider doing something similar and letting that, you know, grow into something that can really, any kind of settlement like that. I've got a really good opinion that I think allows those dollars as non-public funds to be invested in a different way, and that's from one of the tower lawyers in Oklahoma City. So you can do whatever you want with the money, but that would be a good idea if it happens.
So how long would we be in this agreement with this firm?
There's some cancellation clauses in there, but ideally we'd see it through till we get paid out.
There's actually, I think the document said there's a July 31st deadline.
Yeah, on this, yeah.
Yeah,
if
on
we're going to
this.
do it, it has to be.
And
spent.
we're just afraid of missing, you know, a deadline. You know, we did it. They said that our water wasn't good enough. This guy says, I think it is. There's no downside that I can see. And so, I mean, it's taking a chance, but
It doesn't cost us anything if we don't
that's correct.
win.
Yeah, no attorney fee owed if there's no recovery.
And 30% is pretty standard in something like this from the lawyers. 30% is pretty
Oh, I'm sorry,
standard.
I didn't hear you.
30% is pretty standard for their
Oh, yeah.
fee.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually, you know, probably 3 1/3% low. It can go as high as 40. So yeah, I mean, I think this is probably pretty good.
Motion to adopt resolution 2026-13.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. All right, item
Step 18.
10. Consideration, discussion, and possible action to adopt ordinance number 2026-11, amending section 14-117 of the Perry Municipal Code regarding sidewalks required for new development by establishing standards for sidewalk construction, providing exceptions and waiver criteria, authorizing limited city participation in the cost of certain sidewalks, providing for repealer, savings, codification, severability, penalty, and declaring emergency.
Motion to approve ordinance 2026-11.
Second.
You had Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 11, consider application of approval of the emergency clause for ordinance number 2026-11.
So moved.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to prepare and submit an application to the Oklahoma Rural Health Transformation Program for funding assistance for the purchase of an ambulance, authorizing the city manager to execute all documents necessary to complete the application process, and authorizing the city manager to undertake all actions necessary to pursue the grant.
Truth be told, this one's done, so I hope that you approve it. The deadline was today earlier, so I figured we'd want to do it and I moved forward.
Just move forward with the grant.
I move we approve the resolution authorizing you to do what you did yesterday.
Second.
Haven't voted yet.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Item 13, discuss city strategic plan. This week we've got strengthening tax base.
So I've got a document here that I think will be useful for council as we discuss this. Pass it out. And basically what this is for those who are not going to be able to see it, depending on watching, is a breakdown of our budgeted revenues for FY27. And it's broken out into various categories. So I think it helps kind of shape our discussion as we jump in. And Russ will probably be able to answer questions on this a lot better than I will. But I'm sure this.
He already used all of his time though.
What?
He already used all of his time.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Okay, perfect. Well, all right, so if you look here, electric is far and wide the biggest revenue that we budget for annually. We also have some substantial ones in water, sewer, and then the utilities transfer to the general fund. But what I wanted to focus on today is, if you look here, there's quite a bit in taxes, right? So we have a restricted hospital tax, we have a franchise tax, we have a restricted street tax, restricted water tax, and then down below, so those ones are up high on this side, and then if you look below, you have sales tax unrestricted, use tax, cigarette tax. So there's lots of taxes, I guess, is my point. And we've talked about in the past a goal for me to increase taxes by 5%. So we were chatting as an administration earlier how we could, go about achieving something like that.
Increase tax revenue, not taxes. right?
Yes, thank you. Good distinction. Yeah, increase tax revenue by 5%. And so there's a few ways to do that. One would be to increase taxes, right? Back to Joe's point. which we obviously aren't interested in doing. There's also getting more people to spend, right? So enticing people to come in to Perry to spend, which is a really good way of doing it. We've talked about our I-35 corridor obviously being a huge asset that we have, with 20,000 people driving over the city every single day. And then we were talking a little bit about how we've kind of done this in the past years. We've seen upticks in taxes, and really the conclusion we came to is that you can do a lot of things that would help slightly, but the only way to really reach that 5% is by having large ongoing projects, pilots, Amazons, the Ditch Witch paint plant, right? Things like that, where they're spending tons of money to build something. And so the thought process was, well, how do we do that? I think retail strategies is a good option to do that. We continue engaging people who reach out to us, like, we've had businesses in the past that reached out that, predates most of us, that weren't responded to promptly, and so we lost those opportunities. And others who reached out who we did respond to promptly, and those have moved forward. So just continuing to respond to the market opportunities that come up. Talking about renewing these sales taxes, right, as they come due, so that we're not losing those. Those are kind of the thoughts that I had, and that we had as an administration that we wanted to use to kind of kickstart this conversation. So as you look at this, what questions or what other thoughts come to mind?
When we talk about taxes, it's taxes as a whole, right? All taxes. Hotel, motel, everything's all in one use tax, not just sales tax.
Well,
When we talk about increasing taxes, right?
so
The tax base.
The tax
you're talking that 5%, is that? Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Is your motel full all the time?
I wish.
I mean, is it is it norm for your size of hotel for this size of town, or is there more that we could do
I've
to
had
help
better
fill up
years than
hotels
this year.
and help you out maybe?
There's always things that we could add on to, events, anything that's bringing people in from outside. Those construction projects is a big one, especially in even our surrounding area. When they were doing the overpass down on 51, we had those guys staying out here. When Enid has really big events, when Stillwater has really big events, we get spillover from that. From Perry locally, we don't get a ton. If you take like the ball fields, most of those teams are local.
Daily?
Yeah.
They just come in
Yeah,
for the
we
day?
don't really see a lot from the ball fields.
Just to give you guys just a relative number here, because, we say 5%, 5% just kind of can be out there.
Right.
Man, that sounds like a great number, let's do it. Our sales and use tax combined revenue was about $94 million last year. So a 5% increase is $4.2 million of additional sales every year, to grow that. You look at what our big construction projects are and what those pieces broken down kind of to the materials piece, because that's what we're going to collect the sales tax on. So we're asking for $4.5 million a year, and when we say 5%, that's $500,000 a year of additional sales. And that number without construction gets to be a really big number. Almost unattainable. On a per person number, you're looking at $750 per person. So on a household, that's $2,500 more that needs to be spent on taxable goods. Not spent on goods, but on taxable goods. And so to get that to taxable goods, you're looking at about $10,000 to $12,000 of probably additional spending disposable income that needs to be had, which on a $1 per hour number is about $5 an hour. So if we just anticipated that everybody was going to spend at the same rate based on what their current pay is, we need everybody to get a $5 an hour raise. If we're just going to do it on our citizens spending more money. So I was like, now, hopefully that sales tax is coming from per capita, it's coming from growth, it's coming from outside, it's coming from other people, that are coming here to do it. But in the back of our minds, I think a lot of times we have to take a step back and go, all right, what does it take just for us to count on what's here, and what's in place? So I just like to throw those numbers out there because sometimes it's real easy just to say, oh, well, let's go get 5%, 5% growth, that's doable. Yeah, but you start really breaking that down into what it would be per family and on a $1 per hour number, of what you would really do. And real quickly you realize, well, heck, city employees, if we were doing raises, those are 50 cent and less, raises that we're given on an annual basis. So I just want to throw that out there just as a reference point. So it's going to be economic development. It's got to be on the backs of construction and those kind of things are what are going to keep this number escalating as it goes.
We also need more people living here, would also increase that.
Well, and I think the retail study is critical, because for me to spend more money in Perry, I'm gonna need something to spend it on. Because I already try to shop as much as I can in Perry, and so I need another store, another antique mall, something, another restaurant. And, to support those, it takes more people.
So if we give you an antique, you'll spend that much?
I won't, but somebody in my family will.
I know, with what we got coming with Jimmy John's, Dunkin' Donuts, that's good. I think we can continue looking for it. When we start diving into things like a grocery store, that's going to be servicing not just Perry, but surrounding areas. That's bringing people coming to Perry, not just going to spend money there. If it was closer to I-35, they would go to the store, they'd fill up at Love's and go home, to Covington, Lucine, to all these other areas outside.
Did we see any kind of difference when Kroger was delivering here? Sizable difference?
Not a sizable number.
Measurable?
So if we had a grocery store in Perry that delivering groceries to somebody between here and Billings, would Perry get any
Would we get the tax on that?
Depends on how the situation was structured.
If it's
Is
third
the
party
store-
or is the store delivery?
Exactly.
Oh, right.
That's because if I buy groceries from Walmart, it goes to Stillwater because the third party delivers it. Walmart itself. When Kroger was here,
We
it was
got that
Kroger
because it
delivery,
was
and so we
Kroger.
got the sales tax.
Yeah, the sale was here.
Yeah.
On the third delivery, the sale is wherever, Stillwater.
If the third party was Scott Coffee Delivery and he was based in Perry, then we would still get it, correct?
No, well, it's the point at which the goods transfer.
Where the transaction
POS,
is.
the point of sale.
That transfer is what creates it. Whenever they hand it over to the third party,
And
no
so,
matter who the third party was, the third party could be
Right.
out of Oklahoma City, but if that third party hand over now it's here.
Located in Perry.
So if I
it's in Perry,
DoorDash
that's
Yeah.
what it goes.
from Simple Simon's here, it goes to Perry. If I DoorDash from Miso in Stillwater, it goes to Stillwater.
Right.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, so I guess part of the point of this is we need to be strategic about what we're incentivizing, right? Like the retail, the foods, grocery store would be marvelous, right? But your dealerships, your Amazons, they're great when they're first built because you get a big uptick in taxes for the construction material. But after that, it's like, okay, well, it doesn't help us in this aspect, right? There's still the jobs, which is wonderful. There's still the utilities, which is wonderful. But to Russ's point, it's like, that's a really tough number to get to, and you're only gonna get to it through large construction projects in the short term, and then the long term, you're only gonna get to it by inviting the right businesses, incentivizing the right businesses to build here.
So kind of going back to this, so you've got all the revenues on here. Russ, what you're saying is the total sales was at, you say like 94 million?
94 million, yeah, for sales and use tax.
And that's their sale. Yeah, that's the
That
sales.
was-
Yeah, that was the
That was the sales
retail
and the tax
sales.
rate.
Retail sales,
Yes,
yeah.
Yeah, the use tax and the sales tax were calculated.
Came out of that.
94 million.
So your point being, doing 10 events isn't even gonna make any kind of notable difference.
No, yeah,
I think we need to view events as quality of life, right? It's-
right.
that you're not gonna see any real uptick by doing anything like that. Now, you're gonna provide things for your residents to do, which is great. But just seeing that in the proper context of thinking we're gonna invite people into Perry, invite our way out of
I mean, if
this
it's
is
a big
not
name.
feasible.
Well, or if it's a multi-day event, it would help some, because then it would not only bring food, but it would also bring lodging revenue.
Right.
Similar to your Red River trip. That's how many thousands of people?
What we do is spend 3 nights.
Or something like Sepulpa's Christmas thing.
I'm excited about the retail study though, because I mean,
Yeah.
we can all have good ideas about what we think will survive in a Perry. But if somebody's actually done the work to go, no, that won't survive, but this will, that will help people who are wanting to already invest.
And they already have those contacts that we don't. So 94 million retail sales. So we need about 4.5.
That's a lot of sales.
That is a lot of sales.
Especially if it's food or something like that. I mean, that's a,
Construction's a big one.
Construction's
a big one.
Yeah, I mean, our construction projects have taken, our sales tax, used to, we would say, hey, 600,000, and our one and a half thing is generating 750,000. I mean, that's $130,000 just for, honestly, guys, it's all the back of construction. And we actually see the fall off in those months when construction ceases.
Right.
Those are the months that I start going, ugh, this month's
So
gonna hurt.
we have construction out at Pilot, Illinois.
Very slow.
Do we?
Kinda.
They're slowly moving. Every time I buy, there's about 3 guys there.
We've been blessed over the last few years with
Yeah, at
construction.
least
We have,
one
yeah.
year.
Well, between the expansion,
Yeah.
the road, between, the dealership, between Amazon,
Yeah.
there have been some really big
There's
numbers
always been something
in the last 5 years that have made a lot of
We need
difference.
another one for next year.
And to Nate's point of where we look, the other part of this would be building residences and apartments and
Yeah,
that
that's
construction would be,
construction, yeah.
and those all have to go together to make all this work.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you need employees.
Exactly.
We need homes, we need brick here.
That's what would tell us right now, the same thing, we need homes. But teachers are able to move here when they hire them.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I prepared for today. Just a general discussion about that, looking at, the real numbers, and I don't have anything else unless you guys have others you want to discuss with tax base, strengthening tax base.
probably could found this out by reading more detail, but the retail study that we approved this evening, what is the timeline for any kind of feedback or product or?
What's their average response time on that? Yeah.
They said usually you start, the companies they work with start building 3 years out. Which is pretty accurate. I mean, you look at Amazon, Pilot, long processes.
The other thing, speaking of, is usually construction follows Amazon too. So
Yes.
We should have
Yeah.
Yeah,
Other-
there's companies in it.
other construction
Mhm.
Yeah.
tied in with it.
Yeah, we have some good stuff and we have some good momentum. Now we just need to keep that.
That would be something that, so as you start reaching out and talking to the operations side of Amazon, start kind of asking who comes next, who usually follows them.
Be good to know. Huh?
And when are they gonna start their hiring?
That's a question that's been brought up too. I don't know the answer.
Sure, if they open it in August, they
It'd be
probably.
quick.
September.
Yeah.
I also did think they were at least working on
But
it.
still, that's 6 weeks. I mean, that's
I bet most of them are hired or
I
close
think
to.
it's on the employment sites like 9 months ago.
What?
I seen them on the employment sites looking for people to apply, like, or send their resumes like 9 months ago.
I bet most of them are hired and in training or close to.
We did, they did leave Stillwater too, so they may just be using a lot of the driver on there. This Perry build came from Stillwater, which makes me really happy.
There's still more.
It's pretty well.
Yeah, to come here.
The interstate is a wonderful
Better
thing.
location.
All right. Any other questions or comments on that?
I don't want people to think that the strengthening tax base means that we're gonna put more burden on the citizens
No.
of Perry and or of Noble County. It's bringing people to our town to be able to, that spend money to increase the tax dollars that we have available to us, and it's not raising taxes, so to speak.
The hope.
And then bringing people who spend their money in Stillwater to have them to spend it here
Right.
instead.
Yeah.
The hope would actually be the opposite, that would reduce the burden
Exactly.
Yeah.
on those that live
Right.
here.
Yeah.
I think we just need to refer to increasing revenue. When we even in the casual conversation, talk about increasing taxes. That jargon is usually inferred, the percentage is gonna be increased.
Mhm.
But what we're really after is more revenue.
That's why we worded it strengthen, because I think we had that discussed, strengthen tax base as opposed to increasing taxes.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. Going to item 14, upcoming meeting review.
So next meeting, we'll be talking about housing for our strategic plan update. I'll give you guys an update, kind of what we have going, what's kind of in the queue still, what should approach first. We will also review, let's see.
WRP REAP grant.
Yep, WRB REIT full review. So we'll have kind of some options for you guys to review there. And you guys will give instruction on which one you want to proceed with. We'll have a recommendation for that. And then there was one other thing that we were looking at that I can't remember that we talked about this morning. So that gives you a little taste, but it should be another short meeting. We also have some executive session stuff though that will be important to discuss regarding increasing revenues. So.
All right. Going to item 15, any new business? All right, we'll go ahead and adjourn.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and call our meeting to order for the Perry Municipal Authority and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis.
Here.
Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Boucher. Wortham.
Here, we've got quorum. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. 5, any new business? If not, we will adjourn. All right, let's call our meeting to order for the Perry Facilities Authority and have roll call.
Coffee.
Here.
Bledsoe.
Here.
Marshall.
Here.
Davis. Here. Goldar.
Here.
Rupp.
Here.
Williams.
Here.
Boucher. Wortham.
Here. We've got quorum. Item 1, our consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And Coffee.
Yes.
Bledsoe.
Yes.
Marshall.
Yes.
Davis. Yes. Goldar.
Yes.
Rupp.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Wortham.
Yes. Any new business? Not, let's adjourn.